This is the era of the hungry men and women. The abominable hungry men and women. The hungry person is the symbol of every very millions of people who are hungry for food, hungry for understanding, hungry for dignity, hungry for freedom and self-determination, but most of all, hungry for the dignity without which a human is a thing, a chattel, a commodity, the dignity without which a human is a misfit, a monstrous joke in their own eyes, a broken vessel in the eyes of God. The sign of hungry people is their determination, their freedom, their quiet insistence, and their courage. It is a sign of the search for dignity.
When those who brutalized our minds and bodies and spirits for 400 years told us, y'all free now, you hear? Our fathers and mothers and sisters and brothers asked themselves the questions, freedom to do what and with what? What good is freedom without technical skill? What good is freedom without family structure? What good is freedom without economic system and land and shelter to call our own? We're fortunate with our poets and writers. I wish I knew how it feels to be free. It's reflected in the words of Brother Marcus Garvey when he said,
I reared up from slavery and then my doom of being a race leader dawned upon me. I asked, where is the black man's government? Where is his king? Where is his kingdom? Where is his president, his country, and his ambassador, his army, his navy, his men of big affairs? I could not find them, and then I declared, I will help to make them.
This red wine reminds us of the beatings, the burnings, the castration, and the mutilations perpetrated against our people after we received our false freedom. We can't forget the black codes that limited us our contact. We still see the Ku Klux Klan and the Knights Riders who rode roughside through our districts and villages and towns, snatching away our fathers and husbands and wives and children and sisters in order to satisfy their twisted love for violence and their insatiable bloodlust. For every friend our ancestors found, there were at least 10,000 enemies who walked like men yet who acted like animals as they sought to rain violent acts against our almost defenseless ancestors. Our fathers and mothers looked to the northern cities as places of opportunity and liberation, only to find themselves wandering as black nomads in urban cities. There were human dumping grounds for superfluous people in big city ghettos called Harlem, Watts, Huff, Black Bottom, Northfield, Bed-Stuy, Brownsville, East St. Louis, Roxbury, and Newark. We must never forget that our new presidents came in all colors and in all forms. As Reverend Jeremiah Wright said, everybody your color is not your kind. And everybody not your color is not your enemy. Our new enemies came at us with alcohol and drugs and welfare, housing projects, detention centers, and perverted colonial religion that had nothing to do with the God of the Bible. We were told that we had rights. We soon found out that what they really meant was a rightful place in sewers, digging ditches, washing dishes, emptying bedpans, raising other people's children, polishing brass, cooking in other people's food, and shining other people's shoes. Remember how they told us that our neighborhoods would be renewed? They were renewed. Unfortunately, we were not allowed to enjoy it in our new communities. We must never forget how we watched our fathers humiliated, our mothers grow old before their time. We recall the time when friends and loved ones were burned and maimed and killed in fires and houses not fit for human habitation, but seemingly ideal for black folk according to the power structure. We now understand more clearly the dilemma of our parents when they asked to produce marriage licenses and birth certificates were told us that they were destroyed when the courthouses back home burned down in Savannah, and in Charleston, and in Charlotte, and in Richmond, and Jacksonburg, and Lynchburg, and Memphis. This is to say, in every place they never were, simply because they never existed. At least not for black folks, as property, not people. We were not allowed to get licenses from city halls or county seats and state courthouses. The founders of this country did not consider us citizens of this country. We were property. To our mothers on Thanksgiving Day, we say we understand things better, and we're not ashamed any longer. To our fathers on Thanksgiving Day, we say we now understand more clearly why you didn't look us in the eye, or why you drank too much, or why you looked too little, or worked too little, or not at all. Young brothers on the corner, we do understand. The family understands how the violence of this nation has warped your spirit. You have been forced to gaze into the American nation's mirror of distorted images that cause you to view yourselves as something less than sons of princes and kings and priests and preachers and warriors and builders and architects and lawyers and writers and scientists and pharmacists and doctors. That many have been intentional, but God has an intervention. You are not defined by the dominant culture. You are defined by God. That alien culture did not make you. God made you in God's own image. Don't ever forget, you are God's child. Stand up and give God the glory for who you are and for whose you are.
to shatter this darkness, to smash this night, to break this shadow into 1,000 lights of sun, into 1,000 whirling dreams of sun. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. Keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let no jailhouse turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let no jailhouse turn me round. Keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let no verdict turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Let no verdict turn me round. Keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Don't let nobody turn me round, turn me round,
rebirth of learning and national purpose after 400 years of suppression, repression, and oppression. We must remember that a dream of liberation cannot be deferred indefinitely. It dried up like a raisin in the sun and festered like a sore until one day it could no longer be ignored by our oppressors. Our thirst for nationalism, pride, and freedom manifested itself in the NAACP at the turn of the 20th century, which talks about integration. It also manifested itself in the nationalistic movement of Marcus Garvey during the 1920s, which had a dream of repatriation and a new black nation in West Africa. The thirst for pride can also be seen in the followers of Noble Drew Ali, the followers of Ben Hamid Carter, and the followers of Elijah Muhammad. Those men preached that the salvation of black people could only come by separation from the oppressors. Although these various movements had different emphases, all of these brothers and sisters were determined to make the long dream of freedom of black folk real. As we present these dreams, we do so with the hope that the power of God, which caused them to bloom and grow even after the most severe winter, will inspire us to continue building and perpetuating the dream that we as the chosen people of God have harbored in our minds and spirits for over 400 years. The prophet Joel says,
"In the last days I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Your young man shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams."
Our struggle was characterized by pain and suffering, deprivation, intimidation, fear, and hope. Many of our efforts towards liberation were subverted both from without and from within. But the belief in our dream caused us to keep on getting up like grass out of the barren field and leaves on the great oak trees after a spring rain. There were times when it appeared that the whole nation slept and had given up the dream for an illusion. The world was soon to be made aware, however, that the believers in the dream had a greater commitment to survive than the would-be killers of the dream. Rosa Parks stirred the dream in Montgomery when she confronted a racist transportation system with the revolutionary statement, "I'm too tired to walk to the back of this bus." Her ability to dream and act gave millions of other black folk the courage to stop being niggas, to stop being tools, to stop being chattel, and to start being what they were, God's sun-kissed children of Mother Africa, who were to inject new values and new spiritual vitality into a demoralized and degenerate society. The green color of this period reminds us that with the coming of spring, these smaller patches of green will grow into larger patches of green. The little plants sprang out from under rocks, pushed their way through sidewalk cracks, and grew out of pieces of rotten wood. Cosmic truth cannot be crushed, nor can the spiritual dream of a chosen people be snuffed out like a candle. As we look back in wonderment, we realize that people, like seeds, cannot be permanently buried beneath the concrete sidewalks of oppression. The power of their destiny caused them to explode forth from their concrete prison because the dream of God's people could not be destroyed. John the Beloved, the writer of the fourth gospel, said, "The light shone in darkness, but the darkness could not put it out." Our writers foretold the future in this fashion. God gave Noah a rainbow sign. No more water, but the fire next time. You cannot defer a dream. Fire in Watts. You cannot defer a dream. Fire in Chicago. You cannot defer freedom of Mother Africa, the horrors of the slave trade, the fight for emancipation, and the struggle for complete liberation as undertaken by our fathers and mothers. We must remember